Gee, wonder how this video is gonna end. Hey everybody, it's Bobo Dex's Jeeps, and we build badass Jeeps. You saw that right. It's a turbo, and it's going on a Gladiator. Go ahead and start busting my balls. Why don't you? Because everybody knows I'm a V8 guy, and that there is no replacement for displacement, okay? I know that. The problem is, from a business standpoint, not everybody has 30 grand to just walk through the door and throw it down on the counter and say, LS swap my Jeep, okay? We get a lot of people wanting that, and they can't afford it, you know, but they want more power. You know, we're exploring another option, which is the turbo. You know, these guys had a bad rap earlier in 2019 for some other stuff. We figured by now they got it figured out, so we bought a turbo, put on the Gladiator, and see what happens. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, now that the turbo's here, it's almost time to install it, but first I want to take the truck over to the dyno and we're going to do a stock pull on it. We're going to see what the stock engine's doing, how much power it's putting down to the ground through the 8-speed automatic, ultimate Dyno 60s with 538 gears, 40-inch Nitto trail grapplers, and KMC big lock wheels. I'm estimating it's going to be somewhere around 200 horsepower to the wheels, but I want real data. So we're going to strap it down, make a few pulls, and see what we average out with. Okay, that was the dyno. Really not as exciting as most people think it is, but what it did tell us was what the stock engine is putting down through the big old Dyno 60 axles and 40-inch tires. What it came out to was 219 horsepower and 192 torque. That's at the wheels, and keep in mind, that is a lot of RPMs. Realistically, I don't see us putting down 350 horsepower to the wheels after the dyno's installed. That's like a 75% increase in power. I ain't buying it, but we'll see. Who knows, right? I'm thinking it's gonna be closer to like 300 maybe, and even then I'd be real surprised. Let's get back to the shop, start installing this turbo, and then we'll take it back. Once we do a little bit of tuning through Prodigy via email and HP tuners, then we'll put it back on the dyno and we'll get the real data of post turbo installation. Now let's get to work. So the time has come to finally install the turbo on the Gladiator. I say finally because we've actually had it around since before Christmas, so we've had it a few weeks. We just haven't had time to install it until now. So first things first, Bo came in this morning and he started taking the top of the engine apart, the plenum, so that we could get the engine oil cooler filter housing out. We're gonna tap into the back of it where the oil pressure sensor is, and that's gonna be the oil source for the turbo itself. And then once that's installed, we can start putting the top of the engine back together. This isn't new territory for us in terms of the 3.6. As you know, that particular part of the engine oil cooler filter housing fails a lot. And a lot of people end up thinking they have transmission fluid leaks when in fact, it's just that part right there. Well, they're actually leaking his engine oil. Side note, if that's happened to you recently, don't keep just adding oil to it or thinking there's something wrong with the transmission. You should get that fixed pretty quick. But back to this, it is a little bit different on the JL than the JKs, but all in all, it is the same part on top of the Pentastar. And once he's gotten through some of the new tricks that he's had to learn, everything's gone pretty smooth. He's gonna finish removing that, we're gonna tap it, and then we're gonna reinstall that guy and start doing the cool stuff like adding the new exhaust and the turbo. We're gonna let Bo get to work and hopefully get this turbo done pretty quick.
Bo, can you hold it still?
Would you hold still, please, sir?
All right, so it's day 2 We've started installing the turbo yesterday. We kind of took our time on it. We weren't getting in a big rush to it. It's the first time we've opened up the top of a 3.6 in the new platform, JRJT. And now we've modified the fan. Actually, the turbo is going to sit right in this general vicinity. So we've actually modified this area right here, taken some pieces out and cleaned it up, made it look nice. We've also, for the most part, removed all the exhaust to the cross member and been prepping basically to start installing the turbo, all the piping and wastegates and blow-off valves and everything else. So now that we've got pretty much everything to what I consider the halfway point, where we're ready to start really doing the fun stuff. We're gonna go ahead and start installing the intercooler up front, the exhaust pieces, basically the turbo. Hopefully it won't be too much longer and we'll have this thing up and running again. All right, so here we are, maybe day 3, realistically. We did make a couple of mistakes along the way on our part that we misread the instructions. Nothing real big, it was just kind of where we were mounting the downpipe from the turbo to the exhaust. And we kind of put it in the wrong hole. It really caused some headaches on our end. We thought for sure we were looking at the directions the correct way, but we didn't. But we fixed it. It was an easy fix, nothing real big. All the exhaust is installed. The turbo is installed. As you can see, the intercooler is installed in the front. The hoses, heater hoses, pretty much all the hard stuff is installed. Look at the table in front of me right now. It's just mostly some wiring that we're probably gonna have to be doing this evening. We'll dump the tune in it that Prodigy sent, and then we'll fire it up, do a quick check, let it run for about 10, 15 seconds. Make sure nothing's leaking anywhere. We will have to, make sure that we get all the air out of the coolant system. There's some wiring in there. Haven't even really looked at it yet, so I'm gonna see what that's about. We did have to break it to our power steering on our Redneck Ram. We had to change some fittings around that were they were sticking out too far and they were gonna interfere with the downpipe. We had to change those out, so we'll be making sure that we don't have any air in the power steering system. Real important with this electronic deal. Got to put the air filter on, plug the PCVOs into it. We got a filter sock here, a little something extra we added in. This will go over the actual Canon filter that was included in the kit. And all it is just another barrier that is going to go on the filter to help. Hold on. Help protect it and keep extra, some other contaminants from getting in. You can see it's a real fine mesh, and it's going to slip over this filter right here. Just helps keep some of the finer particles from getting on it. I'm not running inner fenders. Probably going to call up Evo and order a set today because I don't want any water getting directly on the filter, and right now it's completely exposed. So in the meantime, I'm gonna run this guy. Really just kind of going back over everything this evening to make sure it's all good. Hopefully, if everything goes right this evening, tomorrow we'll actually back it out and we'll start talking to Prodigy about fine tuning it. And then we'll head down to the dyno and we'll make some pulls on it to see exactly how much power we've gained by adding the Prodigy Performance Turbo. It looks like we're finally ready to start the engine. So we've got everything installed. We've gone over it a few times. Everything looks really good. I'm gonna plug in with my laptop in a minute and drop the tune in for the engine and transmission. And then Bo and I are gonna start up the truck for the first time. We're gonna fabricate a piece to protect the air filter because ever since we've done the suspension back in June or July, we've left the inner fenders out. That's leaving the air filter exposed. So we need to fabricate a little bit of guard in there to keep rain and direct air off of that. What I've noticed in the past, like when we tune LS engines and stuff like that, is that any kind of air that's directly hitting the filter really messes with the tune. So we want to make sure that we don't have any turbulence right there. Once that's done, then everything looks good. We'll take it out on the street, make a few rides. I don't know, contact Prodigy, maybe make some adjustments, but this is getting pretty close to being done. So we just backed out of the shop. We're gonna make our maiden run here with the new Turbo Gladiator and see what this is all about. Doing a log run with HP tuners. We're logging the data and then we'll send that out to those guys. A couple of short hops, 1-2 miles, half and then 3/4 throttle kind of runs. I'm gonna go right here. That's cool. You definitely hear the turbo kick in, and you can feel it kick in. It's pretty cool. Gauges look good. Hardly got into it at all, really. Made a few passes. I think that's good enough. We're logging data that we'll email to Prodigy, and they're going to take a look. I definitely want to log a lot more miles in this, and then update you guys on where I stand on it. But initially, so far, I'm pretty impressed with it. Well, that's not where a turbo goes. Well, it is now, because we took it off our truck. We tried the Prodigy Turbo. I'll say this, the kit's amazing. It looks great. It really is one of the best setups I've seen out of a box. If you pay attention to the instructions, everything goes together really well. The instructions are, for the most part, pretty decent. I made 3 mistakes on the install that I will own. Number 1 was a bracket on the exhaust pipe coming off the turbo. There's a little bracket coming off that mounts to a bolt on the starter. Or the alternator, sorry. I personally misinterpreted that when I looked at the instructions and was trying to bolt it up to the wrong bolt. There's 2 of them about this far apart from each other. It wasn't working out, and yeah, I messed up. But I soon figured out what was going on and I fixed it, and the fitment went together a lot better. But we still had to do a lot more trimming around stuff than what they indicated. The next mistake I made was here on the wastegate. As you can see, there's some little caps right here, right? I picked this up, I'd probably been on the phone or something like that, and I saw this one of these plugs right here. I pulled it out, and that's where I put the sensing, the bung, so that the wastegate would actually know what's going on with boost. And completely missed that one of the holes was already open, and that's where I should have put the bung. Number 3 that I did wrong was when I flashed in the tune, I didn't use the HP Tuner smart cable. On the newer Chrysler vehicles, you have to have them to bypass the securities and allow us to get in and mess with the tune. I messed up, flashed it in, and it took it. Well, that's weird. I will tell you this, that if you aren't able to bypass securities, you cannot flash the tune in this. And the only thing that I could figure was I had my Taser Mini installed when I did that. And it must have bypassed the securities, which that's what it does. That allowed the tune for the engine and the transmission to both be flashed in without any issue. That's what I did wrong. Fast forward to the installation. We got everything installed, flashed their one and only tune that Prodigy ever sent us, which is the same tune for their Gladiator with 14 gears and 35-inch tires. As you can see, or as you well know, our Gladiator does not have 14 gears and 35s. It has UD60 axles with 538 gears and 40-inch Netto trail grapplers. Completely different setup, but they sent us their tune and they swear up and down it should work. Okay? So we flashed in and we took it for the initial drive, and it was badass. But then things started to go downhill. I would go out and start it after it set for a few hours, and it would run really rough immediately. Almost like it was missing or it was flooding or something like that. So shut it down, plug the laptop in it, start logging the data, start it up again, sent it to Prodigy and said, hey, what's going on with this? And they're like, oh, that's weird. It must just be a cold start thing. We'll fix that later on down the road. So next problem, it's running really rich. So rich, you can smell the gas. You can almost burn your eyes with it. It's that rich. So they started seeing that we installed something wrong. There must be a vacuum leak somewhere. And we're looking all over this thing, trying to find a vacuum leak. I took the upper and lower plenum back off. I changed gaskets. While I had that off, I took the injectors out that they sent with their kit, and I flow checked them, and they were 100%. Wasn't anything wrong with the injectors. So nothing's missing there. All the O-rings were good. Everything was sealing up correctly. Put it back together. Had third parties come in that are very familiar with boosting V8s with superchargers and turbochargers and looked at it and said, hey, that's a good kit. Yeah, everything's hooked up right. There's no problem here. Wasn't an installer error. Then I realized, oh, you know what? I don't remember putting the smart cable on when I flashed it. Maybe there's something wrong with the tuning because of that. So I pulled the Taser off. I plugged in HP Tuner's smart cable, reflashed the truck, starting to run good again. Well, that's weird. So I'm scanning it, bank 1 and bank 2, everything's stoichiometric. You know, it's looking really good. And then the longer I drive it, the worse it gets. Something was wrong with the tuning on this. Prodigy never owned it. They would not own it. They said that we installed something incorrectly.
You are spare parts, aren't you, bud?
And then there was the one time that we were data logging for them, and they told us to do it like a half throttle or 3/4 throttle, something like that. And we sent them that data log, and they're like, oh man, you boosted 10 PSI. So I went in and looked, and I found the mistake on the wastegate, fixed it like in 30 minutes, and then telling me something, you know. That didn't change anything. It was still running like shit after that. The mileage went from 12.5. I mean, which is what I would expect on a truck that was running 40s and 538s. We were running 12.5 miles for months with that setup. I was hoping for better with the turbo. I went to 9.5. No matter what I did, I could never get it to run efficient. Like it was just, I babied this thing without even putting it in boost. It was terrible mileage. It all came down to tuning. We put everything back to stock. Within 30 miles of driving it, I mean, we're back up to 12.5 miles to the gallon. It is totally fine now that we have taken their bullshit off of our truck and flashed in the stock tuning. Before we took it off, we had been begging them to do something about this. They never once adjusted the tune. And then the check engine light came on with 5 or 6 codes indicating exactly what I'd been telling them, that the engine's running rich or lean, and that the bank 2 today is rich. Tomorrow it's bank 1. I mean, it was just everything now in the check engine light is indicating that, duh, there is a problem. And that's what I've been telling them. When I sent them the email with the codes and told them what was going on with it, they ghosted on us. They quit answering the emails. All they said was, please direct all diagnostics information to this email address from now on. I emailed them back. I said, hey, can I get a response to this email with this data that I've sent you? And never heard back from them. I was feeling pretty devastated at that point, you know. I went online trying to find some information on it, and that's when I remembered Brite video. Link is in the description. Go check it out. You're gonna find a lot of similarities here. Finally, I was like, oh, man, I'm not alone. You know, it's not me. I posted a picture on Instagram. Things got nasty. These guys were posting up stuff. I didn't even tag them on it. They came at us for a good 18 hours until I finally had to block them because nothing productive was coming out of it. They said some really nasty stuff. They did delete it eventually when one guy went on there and he was like, I don't care what is going on with your system. The way you responded to Exodus Jeeps, I wouldn't buy your stuff based on that. So they deleted that post, but for the next 18 hours, they were just putting out fires on my post, making up excuses, anything but owning the mistake, which is their tuning, really. It's not their system, it's their tuning. So there's a lot of issues with this kit. I don't think it's ready for anybody. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. If you've had same experiences with this setup, by all means, please hit me up. Let me know something, comment. If you've had great experience with this kit, and I don't mean on the JKs or any other vehicle. I'm talking about the JL and the JT specifically, because I believe there's a difference there. Although I've had several people with JKs tell me that since I made that post that they've had issues with it too. I think there's a lot of people out there that might install this setup and they just want it to work so bad that they don't really admit that there's a problem with it. They saved up their money, they gave it to somebody, and they just want the product to do what they expected it to do. I'm making this video for a couple of reasons. A, I want people to know that I own my mistakes. B, this system isn't ready. I believe, in my opinion, it's not ready for the JL or JT platform. And C, you're not alone. If this has happened to you, hey, speak up, say something, bug them. You know, don't let up. Just keep emailing them or whatever. But you know, comment below, let us know what you think. And hey, you know what? Share this video. If it was installer error or if it was something to do with anything that we did, I would imagine that there would be some more permanent damage. We're driving around, there's no issues with it. So thanks for watching, and do us a favor, share this video so more people know. Thanks.